Hi there everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a little bit of a different thing. Enough Sporkle for a little while. I'm gonna be trying to do a little, I'm sure everyone already knows what tier lists are, but yeah, if you don't know what it is, it's basically a way to just rank things in general into different categories. And of course, like Eurovision is could be one category. So there's interval acts from Eurovision. I don't know how much you all are familiar with interval acts that have been throughout Eurovision. I'm not super familiar with them. I usually don't really enjoy watching them, but sometimes there's something like amazing in there. And sometimes there's something completely terrible in there. So this little tier list here has 15 interval acts. I hope you can see them kind of clearly on the screen. It's a little bit difficult. You have to like really focus. But I'll make sure to tell you what all of them are, except yeah, I'm struggling to see. I'll figure it out. But yeah, basically, I'm gonna put them into the different 5 categories here on the screen. So there are eternal classics, which I know there are a few interval acts throughout the years, which I would consider to be. Then there are some really enjoyable ones. There are some that are somewhat entertaining. Most of them in general, I just have a feeling like makes you think, okay, let's move on to the voting. And then there are a few where you just think, well, I'll go make coffee because this is straight up not my thing. Um, and we'll see where I'm gonna put all of these different ones in here. There are 15 of them, and I think we're just gonna get going. The first one that, in case you can't figure it out here, I'll do them in order, I think. The first one that we have here is from 1963. Really old one. It's basically like a show where they ride around on a bike. It sounds really boring, but I think it's kind of cool. Like, you have to take into consideration that this was 1963. That's 60 years ago. I wasn't born then. You were probably not even born then. And I mean, Eurovision wasn't really what Eurovision is today back then. And I think this is kind of a cool little interval act that they actually had that brought some entertainment to the people who watched it back then. I would honestly go as far and rank it up in really enjoyable. Because I think that if you go back and watch any of the contests from this period, this is probably the only interval act that you're actually going to think, huh, that was actually kind of cool. And I think they're really impressive. I don't remember the names of the two people who are riding around on this bike, but I like that one. I think it's admirable, and I think it should be highlighted that it's a little good at least. The next one here, can't really see on the photo, but I know that this is from 1991 in Italy. This was a magician who I guess made a big thing out of the fact that he could change clothes really fast. And if you watch it today, I think it's like 8 minutes long. Of course, if you watch it today, you'll also have to sit through the horrible hosting from 1991, where I believe Toto is always holding his hand around his co-host. I've forgotten her name, sorry. And then you get this guy coming onto the stage and starts changing clothes and whatnot, and it's just, well, I mean, sometimes maybe you think that, oh, it's actually cool that he can do that fast, but when it just goes on for 8 minutes, and I don't know, it hasn't really stood the test of time very well, in my opinion. I think it's not the worst. It's not an awful internal act. It's a little bit funny at times, but I think it mostly makes me think, let's get on to the voting. So I'll put that one in the in that category. The next one, I think it's a bit difficult to see what it is, but I'm sure all of you know it. This is Madonna. Uh, yeah, I'll go make coffee. That was one of the worst interval acts ever. It's this whole concept of people wanting to make Eurovision into an American, like getting some American fans into it. This is not the way to go. Bringing in Madonna and Quavo and having them perform, it just kind of killed the buzz for all of the participants as well. This is a terrible choice to bring them in, and just one of the interval acts that I don't think many people really got any type of enjoyment out of. Maybe some did, but I mean, it's kind of cool that Madonna showed up, but this wasn't good. I'll put it back down here. The next one is, if you can see, we have Verka here on the right. I'm sure you can see that because not a lot of people wear big stars on their head. and it's Conchita and Mons, and I'm sure you know it's from 2019, right? When Israel hosted, and it's basically the song swap thing. So there was Eleni Foureira sang Dancing Lascia Tumbai, Mons Selmelov sang Fuego. I'm sure you all, maybe most of you remember it. I think I really like the concept of this one, and I kind of like the execution. Like all of the covers weren't as good as each other, but I think just the one that Eleni did for Dancing Lascia Tumbai puts this one up into really enjoyable. I would say so. It's a really enjoyable one. It's not an eternal classic. I think those are very rare, but I would say that this one is really enjoyable, and it could have been an eternal classic if all of the covers would have been equally amazing, but I don't really think they are. So we'll put it up here. The next one, oh, what is this? I have a hard time seeing, but this could be. Oh yeah, is this recency bias? This is Diodato performing Fai Rumore from this year. I'm not really sure if this could be recency bias. I mean, I just like the whole kind of release that this got because I'm one of these people who just was dying to see Fai Rumore be performed on the Eurovision stage, and at some point at least. And they actually managed to make it. And I think that Fai Rumore could, well, it could also. I was about to say it couldn't have been performed better, but knowing Diodato, it probably could have. It's just a beautiful song, one of the most well written songs in Eurovision that I've heard. And I just love the whole fact that it got to be performed. And I love the way they staged it. I love how they actually devoted so much time into giving him the chance to really show what he wanted to show with this song. And to me, this is an eternal classic because this is the interval act I will always look back on and just enjoy the most, I think. But that might be a little bit recency bias. Maybe in a few years we'll look back at it and say, oh, that was a good one, but it wasn't among the other classics. But for now, I'm just going to put it here. And if you disagree with me, that's fine. The next one, this is from 2006. It's the Greek folk dance thing. I always like, when countries really do this thing where they really showcase their culture to everyone watching. And I think Greece kind of did that year, but kind of a little part of me felt like it dragged on a little too long. And I get why, like they need to fill more time these days because the voting sequence is so much grander. And I mean, could it just also be that I have a bias for Greek culture? Maybe it is, but I would say that it's still somewhat entertaining. It's not the magician going in and out behind his box for 8 minutes straight. There's a lot of variation into this one. There's some nice music in there. There's some, you just get the view into their culture, and I kind of like that. There's also, I can't see it down here, but I'll throw it out that Turkey in 2004 has a kind of a similar concept, which is also a really good one. I think that would also be thrown into this category here. The next one will definitely not be thrown into that category. This is, I think his name is Guy Tell. I think this is 1989. This guy was shooting arrows at apples. I don't know. It's one of these where I still haven't watched the whole thing because it's that freaking boring. I'm sorry, but it's pretty long, and it's just him walking around and shooting arrows, and it's next to Madonna down here. I'll go make coffee whenever he comes on. I think I see what's up next. I'm gonna drink a lot of coffee during this. This clown, I can't really remember what year this is. This is in the 70s sometime. The 70s is a weird period for Eurovision, but this clown, it's definitely in the coffee tier because this is among the worst things I have ever seen in my life. If you haven't watched this interval act, maybe you shouldn't. But if you're curious, then you could go watch it. But it's not a good time. Let's keep it at that. Another thing which isn't a good time is this guy. It's 2011. It's a guy who shows up on stage rapping in German for 5 minutes, I think. And I guess maybe he's big in Germany. Maybe it's an awesome party for the crowd in Germany. Eurovision is not the place for this. This is just waste of time. It's not. Let's move on to the voting. I remember that I made coffee during this performance, or did I? I've made coffee at least once when I've seen this performance get on. I know that's for sure. Yeah, it's definitely down here. Really, what you call forgettable one, which I don't want to see ever again. Yep. Next one. We all know where this one is going. It's even going ahead of Diodato. Can you do that? Yeah. Love, love, peace, peace. You don't need to say anything else. It's an eternal classic. It will always be one. Just the perfect interval act of so much enjoyment, so much fun, so much creativity being put into it. My Sweden bias is showing through, but I think most people who are into Eurovision can agree that this is one of the best interval acts we've ever had. And it's an eternal classic, I gotta say. Uh, Onuka from Ukraine 2017. This is a good one. It's a really good one. I wouldn't say that it's an eternal classic, but it's really enjoyable. I love the creativity that she's put into her music, and I think that it's a cool place to showcase music like this. It's the complete opposite of what Germany was in 2011, because this has some kind of character to it. This is more than just a famous guy coming on stage and getting a party going. This is actually a musical kind of it's a musical project that they want to share with the rest of Europe, and she's performing it so perfectly on stage. And I think she incorporates this symphony very well. Uh, it's kind of just a musical little gem, I think, to just have in the Eurovision, and I think it's really enjoyable. Maybe I should move it ahead of. I think the bikes are more impressive just because of the time, but I think I'll move it ahead of the. I'm not gonna bother ranking them like this. No, whatever. It's really enjoyable. Next one, Riverdance. No one's gonna object to this one, right? This is a classic just because of the impact that it had, really. I mean, even if you don't think the river dancing is a fun interval act or anything, just the impact that it had and what kind of a phenomenon it has become, that's worthy of being put into eternal classics for me. Fantastic. The next one here, oh yeah, it's really difficult to see because the image is so small, but this is from the rooftop, what were they called? Like the rooftop performances from when Netherlands hosted in 2021. And there was, what was it? It was Mons, and it was Tichin, and it was Elena Paparizzo, and they performed on a rooftop. I think this is let's move on to the voting, in all honesty. Some of the songs are good, some of the songs you're happy to hear again, but it's not really that special in my opinion. I think it just lands in here. If you disagree, that's fine. I get that some people will put it higher because maybe their favorite artist performed on the rooftop or anything, but I just think this concept was kind of meh. So yeah, we'll put it down here. Next one is Shalom. This is another one in the same group of Greece 2006 here. This is Israel 1979, I think, or 1980. Terribly sorry, I don't know exactly which year, but this is a dance performance which I really quite enjoy. I like it more than Greece, so can I? Yeah, let's put it there. I don't think it's really enjoyable, but it's somewhat entertaining. I think it drags on a little too long as well, like with most of these performances, but this is a good one. I'll put it in the middle here. And wow, we're just gonna stack the coffees here. Vote for the Wombles is what says on this sign. I don't remember the year that this is. Could it be 74 when ABBA won? It might be, to be honest. This is horrendous. There's like a long clip of these Wombles. I don't know what the Wombles are. I wasn't born in 1974. Maybe it was a cultural phenomenon back then, but it's a clip with kids singing about Wombles, I believe, and this guy dressed in a bird costume jumps around and acts stupid, and then he comes in with a sign saying vote for the Wombles, and it's just bad. Did I get a single chuckle out of it? Maybe I did, so maybe it's better than the others down here, but no, this is coffee time as well. It's coffee time. If you like looking at people in bird suits, though, then maybe you'll put it a little bit higher, but this is bad. This is bad in my opinion. I think this is my tier list. Yeah, I'm kind of satisfied with this one. Yeah. I think that maybe the rooftop performances is something that maybe people will disagree with me on, and maybe they would swap it, like at least put it up here with these two, and maybe they would put one of these a bit lower. But I think most of these we all might kind of agree on. I think maybe my choice of Diodato up here could be a bit controversial. Maybe you'd like to put him down a little bit, but that's just my opinion, you know. So this is my tier list. Rate it in the comments if you want to, and do tell me how you would rank up this tier list differently from mine. And do tell me if you have any other interval acts that are your favorites that weren't in this list, because yeah, you know, the tier lists don't always have everything that's good and everything that's bad. So do tell me what your favorite, yeah, just tell me what your favorite interval act is. I bet many of you will say Love, Love, Peace, Peace, but maybe some of you out there have something else. So do tell me. Thanks for watching this video as well. It's been fun making it, I think. And I hope to see you in whatever video comes next. Take care of yourselves, and bye-bye.